Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We have a huge favor to ask. Please give us a 5-star rating and leave a glowing review in the app where you are listening to this podcast. Thank you. My name is Artem, and here is the news. For 163 days, Ukraine defends itself against the Russian invasion. The first caravan of 3 vessels with Ukrainian grain left the port of Chornomorsk, Odessa region yesterday morning, reports Radio Liberty. Infrastructure Minister of Ukraine Oleksandr Kubrakov informed that the 3 bulk carriers Navy Star, Rodgen and Polarnet have 57,000 tons of Ukrainian corn on board. The ships are heading to Turkey, the UK and Ireland. According to the minister, the plan is to ensure the ability of Ukrainian ports to handle more than 100 ships per month. The Agrarian Ministry of Ukraine informs that the country needs to export at least 5 million tons of grain per month to take out last year's and new harvests, reports Interfax Ukraine. In the current season in July, only 3 million tons were exported. Overall, Ukraine can export 70 million tons of grain and oilseed crops of the current and last year's harvest. In his traditional evening video address, President of Ukraine Vladimir Zelansky welcomed the news about new ships with grain leaving Ukraine. He stressed that the more Ukrainian grain will be on the global market, the smaller will be the harvest of political chaos in countries primarily in Africa and Asia. Zelensky added that due to lower harvests in Europe, Ukrainian grain will be important to avert a possible crisis there as well. Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant in the Russian-occupied Enerhodar disconnected one of the 3 operating power units from the network due to damage to the high-voltage line, reports Interfax Ukraine. The damage was caused by the Russian shelling. According to the Ukrainian state company that operates the power plant Energoatom, no emissions or discharges of radioactive substances have been recorded. Volodymyr Zelensky reacted to the situation, reminding that the plant in Zaporizhzhia is the largest nuclear power plant on our continent, and any shelling of this facility is an open, brazen crime, an act of terror. He stressed that Russia should bear responsibility for the very fact of creating a threat to the nuclear power plant. According to him, Russia should be recognized as a state sponsor of terrorism, as well as Russian national nuclear energy operator Rosatom should be sanctioned. The Cabinet of Ministers of Ukraine started the procedure of the seizure of 903 objects in Ukraine that belong to Russia, reports LBUA. Prime Minister of Ukraine Denis Shmyhal said assets that Ukraine's state seizes are converted into funds allocated for its defense and restoration. Out of the list, some 79 items are corporate rights, while 824 are property. Buildings, land plots, and so on. The President of Ukraine informed that assets worth $705 million have already been forcibly seized in Ukraine. Zelensky stressed that all these will be sent to compensate for the damages that Russia causes through war and terror. He added that on top of planned more than 900 objects belonging to the Russian state in Ukraine, there are 36,000 items that belong to Russian citizens in Ukraine. The General Staff of Ukraine informs that the Russian forces are conducting an offensive operation in the Donetsk region, concentrating its main efforts on the Bakhmut and Avdiivka directions, reports Grunt Media. The enemy is actively using artillery and aviation. In the Mykolaiv direction, the Russian troops are conducting a defensive operation. They are trying to keep the occupied areas and inflict maximum losses on the Ukrainian units. Reuters informs that the US is preparing a new $1 billion military aid package for Ukraine, reports European Pravda. It is expected that the package of US military aid will be announced already on Monday. It will most likely include munitions for HIMARS, munitions for the NASAMS anti-aircraft missile system, and up to 50 M113 armored medical personnel carriers. According to the media, the new package is the result of the Pentagon's recent decision to allow Ukrainians to receive medical care in a US military hospital in Germany near the Ramstein air base. The former deputy head of the main intelligence agency of the Defense Ministry of Ukraine in 2008-2010 has been notified of suspicion of high treason and arrested without bail, reports NVUA. According to the Security Service of Ukraine, the suspect was recruited and acted in the interests of Russia's special services. He collected and transmitted secret information about the current military-political situation in Ukraine, as well as the forms and methods used by the armed forces of Ukraine and law enforcement agencies in countering Russian aggression. The name of the person wasn't released to the public. Our Patreon supporters get access to a cool new series on wartime life in Ukraine. To join the club, follow the link in the description below. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine. Thank you.